Hello and welcome to the Nova Coach podcast. This is episode 349, Moving Forward. I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg. This is mostly for people who have been following the show for a while. If this is your first episode you're tuning in, it might be a little bit confusing, but bear with me. So this is episode 349. So it's day 349 of my daily podcast. And my goal is 365 days. So we have just over 2 weeks to go. And I have been umming and ahhing about what to do going forward. And I've been chatting to a few people who are like, you have to keep it going. I love listening to this show. It's like my daily inspiration. And so I figured I would spend this episode getting like really real. That's hard for me to say. Really real and raw and honest about, the show, where it's going, my thoughts about it, and so on and so forth. So personally, I don't like listening to podcasts that have ads. I find it boring. I'm forever trying to hit the +15 to skip past it. So although sponsorship was something that I could consider, I didn't really want to go down that path. So to be honest, the show just isn't growing these last couple of months. The first 6 months, it was like on fire. Every month there was more listeners to the month before, and it was fabulous. And for the last 5 months or so, it's stagnated. Now we're still getting like a couple thousand downloads a month, but it's not at the stage where the show is continuing to grow. And it's a big time investment for me, production costs, recording, uploading, promoting. It's a lot of effort, and not everything in life is about a profit, of course, and the bottom line. But, when we are in business, and I've spoken about this on a number of episodes, do you have a business or do you have an expensive hobby? And as it stands, the podcast hasn't got a place in my business where the amount of what I'm getting back from it is worth the amount of time I'm investing in it. That being said, I do have a couple of thoughts. I know when I reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I can monetize it and I can put the ads on. And what I like about the ads on YouTube is you can just hit skip. Like you don't have to listen to the whole thing like you do for those of you who listen on audio. So I'm currently, at the time of recording this, just over 340 subscribers. So if I reach, or when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will keep the show going or bring the show back to a daily show. Because I was just thinking about this and I was like, if everybody who's subscribed to me on YouTube invites 2 friends who also subscribe, bang, we've already reached the 1,000 subscribers. And I want to give a shout out to Melinda, who commented on one of my recent YouTube videos. She said she listens on Spotify, but she created a YouTube account so that she could subscribe to the show and let me know that she listens to the show and she enjoys it. And you've been listening for about 3 months. So if we reach the end of the 365, for those of you who are tuning in on the regulars, you can go back and listen to all the previous episodes, especially those of you who have joined me along the way. And the other thing is the show won't be wrapping up entirely. I will be doing an intuitive release schedule. So basically when I feel like it. And you never know, I could really miss it and keep coming back, or I could drop an episode about 1 a week or so. That being said, I would love to know, and this is my question, so you can send me an email at info@suzannekohlberg.com, or you can comment on this video if you're watching it on YouTube. What kind of things do you want to hear? So I know, what episodes do you like, so I can get more of those in. What do you think about the length? Because this has been 15 minutes or less because it's been a daily show. But with it going to a when I feel like it show, what do you think about longer episodes, like 45 minutes to an hour? What I like about those is that you can press pause and then come back to them. So maybe I will, talk for a bit longer if I have a different release schedule. But I'm open to, any feedback. As I said, you can send me an email. My email is info@suzannekohlberg.com, or you can comment on the YouTube. And for everyone listening to this, where in your life is it time to move forward with something? Is it time to do your own version of a cost-benefit analysis, to do an audit? How much time am I spending on this thing? How much energy am I spending on this thing? How much money am I spending on this thing? And what is the return? Because the other thing that I could do, and I've been toying with the idea, is having a private podcast, which is a subscription only. So once again, there would be no ads, but then you would pay to listen to that podcast and you'd have a private link. It wouldn't be publicly available. So that's something that I'm toying with in the back of my mind too. I'm nothing if not honest. It makes me think of that question, on a job interview. What's your biggest weakness? Honesty. Well, I don't think honesty is a weakness. Well, I don't give a fuck what you think. I am honest. I am direct. This is where it is. The show is kind of, stagnated. And although I have fun doing it, it's not growing. It's not growing my business at this stage. And the time that I'm spending recording every single day, I could spend, guesting on other people's podcasts. I did that for about 2 years before I created this show. And I actually got much bigger growth to my audience and people coming into my business as a result of guesting. And I suppose that makes sense when you think about it logically. If I record my show, it gets in front of my people, which is amazing, and I love you all. But if I go onto other people's shows, then I'm getting in front of their audience. So it brings more people into my business. And when you are in business, especially as a solopreneur, bringing in the clients, it's not a matter of when you watch these webinars and things, it's just like, turn on the client tap and whatever. And I'm like, what tap? Where? And I know a few people, you guys have suggested ads and things. Ads are cool, but once again, that is a budget and that's another cost. So it adds to the bottom line of the show. And, they're all things that you think of when you're doing whatever it is you're doing, when you're doing a creation. It could be a business venture. It could be writing a book. Like I've written a book, The Beginning is Shit, and I loved it. And a number of people have said, when's your next book coming? But I could do a whole episode on the cost benefit analysis of a book as well, because there's the time that you take to write it, then edit it, then the cost to pay someone else to get it professionally edited, cover design, uploading, promoting, and then you end up making, I think if it's an ebook, you get like 50 cents. And if it's a print book, I get $1. So, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours and dollars go in. Like I think my last book ended up costing me just shy of 10 grand. I did not recoup that by any means in book sales. I don't regret doing it. I've got, the title of author, and I get my little royalties check, and I do enjoy having had written a book. But is it something I want to do again? But maybe without doing this daily show, if I put that 15 minutes towards my book each day, within a year, I could have another book out. So that's something I would consider. But all of this to say, thank you to each and every one of you who've listened to this show, who comment, who send me emails. I so appreciate it. And I think sometimes we don't realize how much those messages, especially for solopreneurs and small entrepreneurs, those messages, that support can really mean the world. The other thing too, if you're listening, I do have a PayPal donation. It's usually in the link of the videos. Otherwise, if you go to my website, SuzanneKohlberg.com, click on resources, there's a PayPal button there. If you'd like to, send me some dollars so I can buy a coffee, or I don't drink coffee, but chai. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, this is not the end. As I said, this episode 349. We still have just over 2 weeks to go, but just wanted to give you the heads up, because I figured sometimes too, we end things, we bring things to a close, we cancel things without letting people know. And then people are like, oh, if only I'd known. So I'm letting you know now with just over 2 weeks to go. So if you're like, actually, I love this show and I want to keep hearing it daily, I really encourage you, who do you know who would also love to listen to it? Can you send them the YouTube link? Say, please subscribe to this channel, have a listen to a couple of the episodes, like, comment. I think you'll enjoy this. If you're listening to this on Spotify, on Apple, on any others, if you can go to the effort of creating a YouTube account like Melinda, like hats off to you. That is awesome. So appreciated. Subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, it kind of makes me think of, when you see your favorite TV show get cancelled and there's the audience uproar and then they go to work and then the show's brought back. You never know. This show, it might not end. 365 may just be the beginning. But I just wanted to spend an episode where I was upfront, frank, honest about, where it's at. I don't want anyone to think, oh, she's just a money grabber or she's just in it for the money. I love providing value. There's 365 days of value by the time this has ended. If you've listened through it once, you can probably go listen through all of it again. But there reaches a point where we have to decide what is the best use of our time and our energy and our limited resources, and maybe, try something else. Sometimes things turn out exactly as we hoped, even better than expected, or they're not quite what we hoped, and then we can, move on, tweak, try something else. Sometimes the smallest shift results in the biggest change. So all of this to say, it's been a fabulous year. I've so enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the last 2 weeks. So thank you for joining me. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.